Hi. One interesting fact about African history is that while Africa was enjoying its golden age, Europe was encountering a general downturn in productivity and economic growth. Welcome to the Sankofa Pan African series. Before we find out more about this topic, please subscribe to this channel if you've not yet done so. Thank you. I know that it is possible to look at the way that someone like Mansa Musa drew undue attention to himself when he went on pilgrimage to Mecca, and the amount of gold that he spent there and in other places like Egypt on his way to and from Mecca. And some people might look at this and say, maybe if he had not done so, Africa might not have attracted undue attention to its wealth. However, that position is rather simplistic. The truth of the matter is that countries in Europe were desperate. It was a case of find resources to pillage elsewhere or perish. The 14th century was a period of major famines and crises in the agricultural sector in Europe. From about 1320, there was a famine every 10 years. Fields used for grazing and planting were affected by serious climatic changes, and so yielded very little, and soon they became abandoned. Food became scarce, and then epidemics such as black plague, typhoid, dysentery, smallpox, etc., hit populations periodically between 1313 and 1348. There was therefore an increase in mortality and a drop in birth rates. Citizens grappled with very poor standards of living, with limited nutrition and several health problems. So these conditions in Europe were to have dire effects on the rest of the world, especially continents like Asia and Africa, which had and still have rich resources. So most monarchs in Europe who had been looking for sources of wealth invested more in mercenaries who have now become canonized, in history as explorers. These mercenaries were prepared to risk their lives looking for wealth in these two continents as well as in the New World. So with the wealth they found and bestowed on their monarchs, these mercenaries then bought respectability. So also, based on the information provided by these mercenaries when they visited these continents, these so-called explorers, other people from Europe then started exploring and migrating to colonize other continents in order to find the wealth with which they then improved life in their own home countries. One thing which I find very disturbing and which we should all pay attention to is that as I continue to research this period in history, the irony of how migration has become so highly criminalized and politicized, so much so that a man like Donald Trump got elected based on a half-brained plan to stem immigration is just very puzzling. We now have a situation in which, first, although there is lip service paid to giving preference to migrants who are war refugees, others who embark on migration as a result of economic hardship are criminalized if they don't end up dying during the perilous journeys or practically ending up enslaved. Now, this irony is driven home when one realizes that migration is a natural part of human life. Europeans, during periods in their history when life was unsustainable on that continent, saw the need to and were able to migrate in order to improve their circumstances. So, while I'm not advocating that Africans and people from other continents should be given free rein in the developed world and that everybody should just they should just open their borders and let everybody in so that they don't become overwhelmed, I believe attempts to stem the current tide of migration must prioritize the rights of human beings, to economic survival and free movement. Why is there such little effort to address the huge and widening economic gaps between countries? How do we justify a world in which cats and dogs in some parts of the world are better fed than human children in other parts of the same world? Why are we so reluctant to link the fact that young men and women will risk drowning in desperate bids to migrate to lack of economic equity, social justice, lack of job opportunities, and other factors? We must link these factors. Anyway, going back to the decline of Africa's golden age, as a result of continued contact with the Arabs and later Europeans, Africa witnessed fundamental changes. Foreign trade partners worked persistently to establish themselves by developing relationships with the ruling hierarchies in Africa. Mostly, they did this by fueling and exploiting ethnic and religious divisions. Old rivalries and hostilities were inflamed or revived. As such, state structures were gradually destroyed by the violence in the form of skirmishes, ambushes, kidnappings. These all kept flaring up, leading to insecurity and fear. The ruling classes quickly saw that there was profit to be made from selling slaves, to their foreign allies. Initially, the trade in slaves was dominated by Arabs, but Europeans swooned in. The ruling classes got so befuddled by either the newfound religions of their foreign allies or the equally intoxicating guns and sometimes real alcohol which they got in exchange for their fellow Africans. Their victims were mostly captured during wars or sometimes simply classified as criminals with often trumped up charges. Wherever the ruling classes got into partnerships with foreign exploiters, traditional laws and customs broke down and the abuse of power became the order of the day. In a few cases, the economy might seem to boom temporarily, but generally the economy stagnated and then human resources were wasted as the foreign invaders kept extracting resources, to take to their countries. Human beings were carted away to work and develop other economies, just as minerals and other natural resources were carried away. The ruling classes of Africa were so debauched by their alliance with their foreign exploiters that they did not even see that they were selling their people and resources for dirt. The currencies that were introduced, that first the Arabs replaced trade by barter for actual goods, which was the way in which Africa used to trade. So the Arabs replaced the trade by barter for actual goods with cowrie shells and other worthless shells. The Europeans then topped this by introducing other currencies like the Manila and other valueless currencies. So as far as Africa is concerned, neither the Muslim Arabs nor the European Christians ever had any intention or interest that was not self-serving in Africa. Once again, thanks for being a part of the Sankofa Pan-African series. We will continue with other empires which emerged in West Africa before moving eastwards in subsequent episodes. Meanwhile, please don't forget to send me your questions. I'd particularly like to find out what you think Africa, and indeed the world, would be like today if Africa had not been so badly exploited, pillaged, and colonized. Try and imagine what Europe, the US, and other parts of the American continent would be like without the human beings and natural resources that were stolen from Africa to develop those places. Send your comments on this and to send your comments on this to our community page. See you next time.